It's a glorious sunny morning and we are in among the trees looking for treasure. Hi everyone, we're out again and we are exploring, and today we've got a little bit of company because we have Lynn with us and her other half, Graham, who's charged off into the trees looking for treasure already.
And a very noisy airplane.
And a very noisy airplane too. They're out looking for us this morning. But we're back at a spot that we met Lynn and Graham at previously, but on that occasion it was nettles up to you, and we did say we'd come back when the nettles are gone. The difference is it was a lot warmer when the nettles were up to you, so we got to keep rubbing our hands, and we've got our hand warmers in case we need them. But we're gonna have a look in amongst the ground cover here and see what we can find, and hopefully we'll find some interesting things. And at this moment Caroline is being camera lady, but due to the damage to her knee, then you're going to have to put up probably with some of my camera work today. I'm just ducking down because Caroline just moved the camera because she wasn't concentrating.
Well,
okay.
Of course I'm concentrating. Whoops.
There we go. So Caroline's just trying to make me feel better about my bad camera work. Let's get to it anyway. Bad camera work or not, let's see what we can find. Oh, and Lynn's already made a start. There we go. She's got her first
nice
find, and that's a poison bottle.
Poison?
Very nice. Is it clear or green?
I don't know, I think it's clear.
Yeah, I think so. It's moss inside, is it?
Algae.
Yeah. Whatever inside. Throw in.
Oh, now then.
You
That's...
can have that.
Oh, thank you very much. Well, there we go, folks. There's our starter for one. Well, it looks like our friends the diggers have been doing a bit of work here.
Yes, they have.
Right.
There's two bottles there. Necks are not good. But there's right one.
There we go. Let's have a look at these. You can see the necks are gone on both of these. But that's a Hall's Wine Tonic. Now, a slightly smaller version of that is the very first bottle Caroline and I ever found. And that was up near Tredegar in South Wales. And that was our first ever bottle find. And this one is White Rose. There we go. Bottling company. And that's West Riding. Hang on. Is this who? Oh, it's a bit nibbled, isn't it? It's a bit nibbled, but I have got teapots without lids, so I can't leave a lid behind just in case it fits one of my teapots. Now, it will be no surprise to any of our regular viewers that I don't only like pristine bottles and jars and things that can be used for the purpose they were created for or just look pretty on a shelf. I also like melted glass. Why do I mention this? Because here I have discovered one piece of melted glass. Look at that jar. There you go. Isn't that a cracker? And that, my friends, is definitely going in the bag. Caroline may have to be using two sticks to get around, and she can't hold the camera because both her hands are full, but she's certainly making progress as she steadily works her way through the trees. So, as I work my way to catch up with her, I can see there's some rather large divots here that have been created by the bottle diggers. But have they left any goodies for us? Well, we'll have a little look and I'll switch the camera back on if I find something. That's one thing you can be sure of in Yorkshire, is a beautiful view. And also on this particular dump you can be sure of molten glass, because look, here is another piece. No cracker, look at that. Oh, that's going in the bag too. I wonder what's connected to that neck there. Is it just a neck? Yes, it is. Thought it may be. Now we've got stamped on that one, British made. And that's just a base. But the melted bottle, that's going in the bag for sure. Hang on, Lynn's giving me a shout. I think she has located one of the items I'm collecting today, which is lids for teapots.
It's what you call a brown Betty teapot lid, isn't it?
Oh, it certainly looks like a brown Betty, yes. Oh, and it's in good nick. Excellent. I'm sure there must be a teapot on a shelf in the shed that will fit. Thank you very much then. Well, we're moving into an area now where we can definitely see evidence of our friends the bottle diggers having done their work. Obviously we've got the wonders of nature, and we've just had to compete with one of these that came down in a storm. If you take a look, folks, as I say, don't shout if you see something, because there's lots to see.
Shout if you don't see something.
There we are. Caroline suggests you shout if you don't see something. But we're going to have a little look amongst these and see if there's some nice finds to take back with us. And I'm sure we'll find a few. There's an old favourite for these parts, Fletcher's sauce. Find quite a few of those in these parts. That's why they get left by the bottle diggers, because for them they're too commonplace. For a nice little bottle and in good nick. What else have we got? Let's get down in the hole here and have a look. Oh, oh. Well, there's a shipman's pot. It's another old favourite.
And look what Graham just gave me.
Oh,
Further back, get some focus.
baby's plate.
It's lovely, isn't it?
It's lovely, but I don't think baby will be eating much more off that plate.
No, but I reckon we could do something with that.
Do you? You like the words? You like the lettering?
Yes.
Well, there we go then. Pop it in the bag, dear. As you can see, a fair few jars and bottles and salt bottles, wine bottles. Quite a variety. What a lovely colour on that jar there. Oh, let's have a little look at that in the sun, shall we, folks? Shall we have a little look at that in the sun? Oh, isn't that a beaut? I tell you what, no matter what we find today, nothing's going to beat the weather. It's glorious. But that is absolutely stunning. And what else is around here? Lots of broken glass. Got to be very careful. You need a good strong sole on your boot to be walking in these parts. There's a medicine bottle there, possibly with... No, it's not got the tablespoons mark. Oh, it's a little milk glass jar just there. Now, if we had the room to carry it, see, even that, although it's damaged, can either form an ornament with something displayed inside, or Graham was saying earlier on, an ideal purpose for these is to put a little bit of a plant in there and let it grow out in the garden. Now, we couldn't get through here on our last visit because, as you can see, the height on the growth here, but of course it's all died back at the moment because we're in the winter time, heading towards spring. So we're able to make our way through, and as you can see, Caroline's already leading the way, slow and steady. So let's catch up and see what's down there. Now we've got a little bit of a ceramic, or earthenware I should say, graveyard going on here. And just to show you how some of these look in situ, if I just bring it up, look at that one in there. Now, I'm not going to excavate it, I'm going to leave it there. But I just want you to see it in its natural habitat, surrounded by the moss and the brambles that are growing. And I just think it looks sweet where it is, so I'm going to let it stay where it is. Now, one of these pieces we have shown on a previous visit to this stump, and that's this one here, because that would be a beaut. All by the fact that it's missing the one vital piece, which is where the word was, just there. Look at that. Wouldn't that be a fantastic display piece if we just had the last bit to go in there? But I failed to find it on my last visit, and I doubt if I'm going to have much success on this time. Here's a very plain and simple example of a jam pot. A little crack in it there. It's in pretty good order. It's not too big, so maybe it'll earn a place in the bag today. What are you thinking, folks? Take it or leave it? I'll pop it in, and if I find something that needs to take its place, then it'll have to come back out. But we'll see if it survives and makes it all the way home to the live show. There's a large chunk of pot there. That would have been a nice one before it met its demise, and I can see, oh, I think I can see one of them amber chemist jars over here. I wonder if that's full. Let's get inside and have a look, folks. Let's have a look, let's have a look. Oh, it's looking good so far. Oh yes. Oh yes, that is coming home with me. Another one for my shelf. Let's have a little look, folks. Isn't that a lovely find? Hexagonal amber chemist's jar. Would have held a medicine of some kind. Oh, I like that. Now, I'm following behind. I'm playing catch up because I'm the cameraman. Very often I'm off in front, but Caroline's with the camera. But today Caroline's taking it steady and slow and making her way through. But I'm also following behind Lynn and Graham, and they've just set these to the side for me to show. Look at that. That's in good nick. And then little baby brother. Not genuine unless bearing W.P. Hartley's label. Now that's quite a nice lid, isn't it? There's like a slug in there. We'll put him back now so that he can have his rest. He won't like the sunlight too much. That's a boot. And what's this? Oh, now that's a fancy bit of glass. Let's have a look on the colour of that, shall we? Oh, now look at that. That's a beautiful, beautiful piece of glass. In fact, it appears to be a stopper. Look at that. That would have sat in the top of something, but then it's got this effect, which looks like it's going to be a vase. Now that is peculiar. Any ideas, folks? Now, along with the other things that Lynn left behind, she also left this little teapot. Now, you know I like my teapots, very much so. But I have to be very well behaved at the moment because of the amount of room in the shed and the amount of room in the bag. But due to the size on that, if I could just put it on the palm of my hand so you get an idea of its size, then I think that should go in the bag and only come out if it finds a replacement that's even better. So into the bag that's going. Well, let's head on down because everyone's ahead of me now. There's Lynn down there and everybody else has already gone out of sight. So I better trek on through. Just try heading down this path here. See if there's anything to be discovered. Steady as you go, folks. Take your time. This is the sort of territory I have to venture alone today. As I say, Caroline's headed off across the flat grounds, seeing if there's any pickings on the level spots, and I'm just taking a look on the more precarious points, shall we say, and taking you with me as I am cameraman for the day. Oh, now there's a rather nice looking handle, isn't it? Look at that. Oh, that is a boot. Now if I had a teapot without a handle, gosh, that would look rather grand. Might look a little out of place on a brown betty, but who knows? You never know until you try. And I'm certainly going to take it with me and give it a try. I tell you what if we pop over to the shed and have a little look at some of those teapots and see if this suits one of them, and also see if we can do a little something with them today. Well, here we are in the shed, and as I say, the one thing we do not have a shortage of here is teapots. From our visits up there in Yorkshire, we have picked up a number of teapots over the time. Teapots that we have found matching lids to, which is always nice. Teapots that have no handles. Some teapots have no spouts. And of course, this is the latest addition to our collection, this lovely little white teapot. But what I'd love to do now is to create something quite special from a couple of the teapots that I've got. And I'd like to share that craft with you. I'd like to make something that has a real impact as an architectural piece, but also as a practical ornament that can sort of create a sense of presence all of its own. Now that sounds like a high order, and it is, but if you don't try, you don't get. I dare say we're going to have some issues along the way, but hopefully by the time I'm finished, this will work. Right then, so what am I thinking? I'm thinking of something I suggested a long while ago, and that's to make a short stack of teapots and create a water feature out of them. Now that's going to prove interesting. First thing I've got to do is decide which teapots I want to use. Because as well as the two I've just shown you there at the table, of course, here are a small selection, as you can see, of some of the teapots we've picked up. Don't worry if you don't recognise some of the old favourites. That's because they're in the process of being found a new home here among my treasures, and are possibly in boxes around the shed. But we've got everything from brown baddies right through to beautiful willow pattern, and cream and brown, and even not a lot, but a lovely little piece of a Japanese pot there. So let's decide which of these are going to form my stacking water feature. Okay, I've gone with 3. I've decided to use 3 pots, and I'm going to start with a large one on the base, then a smaller one, and then a small one on the top. My small pot is this one. It's a lovely, neat little green teapot. It's got a full spout. That's one of the things that drew me to it, because I want to try and get the water to run out of the spout on the top. So I needed a full, clear spout on it. It doesn't have a handle, but that doesn't matter. It'll do the job, I'm sure. Well, we'll find out in a few minutes. Then I went for my medium one. That's this. It's got the green in it again. Lovely, beautiful green there. But it's also got this lovely marbled effect here, which runs down into a darker, treacled marble effect at the bottom. Again, it's got the spout. Now, this spout is not going to be pouring, but I need a spout that's high, because I don't want water coming out of this, otherwise it'll be flooding everywhere. Again, doesn't have a handle, but I don't mind. And finally, I needed as large a pot as I could find for the bottom one, and I decided on this. Now, I'll show you why I need it to be quite large, and this is as big a reservoir as I've got in the teapot at the moment. I love the colouring. I love this gold flowers laid against such a rich green background. I love the beading that they've done around the edge. It's got a nibble there, but wouldn't you if you'd been in the ground for 50 years? And it's lost the edge of its spout. But there's still enough of a form there for it to do the job I want, because this is going to be blocked off. I'm going to close this and make this a reservoir. This is where the water will reside. And of course, it's got this lovely handle. I wanted a handle on one of the teapots in order to show and suggest the purpose for which it was created. Obviously, the next item I need is not something I'm likely to find on a dump or in a river or on a beach or anywhere else that we go wandering on our adventures. Whether we're in Yorkshire, whether we're in Wales or Scotland, it makes no difference. We could travel as far as we wanted. I don't think we're likely to find a working, safe water pump. But I happen to have in the garage just such an item, because this was picked up now so long ago, Caroline can't even remember. But I decided at £5 in B&Q's, it was too good a bargain to leave on the shelf. They were having a clearance sale, and this went to £5. So I picked it up, I popped it on the shelf. This seems like the perfect thing to use. They show a water feature there. It's not quite teapots, and it's not quite as tall as I'm going to make mine, but I'm convinced this will do the job. Now, with this teapot, the preparations are fairly straightforward, because all I need to do is mix up some milliput and then just fill in and smooth off this piece here. Then I have formed the reservoir, because I've checked and it is already watertight, so the teapot of itself will do the job. Because if I show you now, this pump, if I just put it in like that and twist it around, will fit down into there. I do have an obvious problem, which I'm sure everyone will have noticed, and that is if we're going to use this pipe and if we're going to stack teapots, how do we get the pipe through the teapot? Well, the short answer to that is make a hole. Now that sounds a lot easier than it is, because I'm going to need to drill a hole and then tap out. What I'm going to do is drill, say, something about 1/4 inch or just over, something like a 10mm perhaps, and then chip it out just to make the hole large enough, and then use a little roll of milliput to seal the pipe around the hole. That's the theory. Righto, let's see how it goes in practice. Well, I'm quite pleased with that. I think that is a success, and it fits, which is obviously very helpful. Now, confession time. Things didn't go quite as good when it came to the smaller pot. Yes, let me show you what I mean. I have drilled the hole, and I have widened the hole, and I wanted the hole so that it would come down this way and sit at an angle, so that the water would pour straight back out of the spout here and run back down through the first teapot into the second teapot. That was the theory, and as I say, I think that looks pretty good. But what I am hiding is that. Yes, what the camera didn't catch is it broke. But as you all know, my ever-present friend, the Gorilla Glue, will help me out there, and I'm sure we'll soon have this looking as good as new. There it is. All ready to go. Fixed, repaired, glued together, and there's the hole that should go neatly onto the pipe. And then I can set this at the angle I want, so that we get the pour from the spout back through the teapots. That's the theory. Well, I'm quite pleased with the way this has turned out. I really didn't know if it was going to come together. When the teapot split in half, that wasn't good news. And then to try and get it to assemble in a way that I could work with the small reservoir of water I had. I think this has turned out okay. Hope you do. So, have a little look at it now. Functioning, working, and ready to go. And then we'll get back over and see what else we can find on this wonderful extravaganza with our friends there on a dump in Yorkshire.
Oh, what's Lynn got now? I've caught up with Lynn, and oh, that's lung tonic.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Pull. Yeah.
Yeah, back in the days when chest infections and such diseases were killing a lot of people, and they were so afraid, they were buying this stuff by the ton. And here we have, oh, that's my third piece of melted glass today. And look at that one, folks. That is one perfect jar, except for the fact it's been in the fire here on the tip. And that is definitely going in the bag. Oh, what's it?
That's
what have we got now, Lynn?
That's a nice blue one. It's only a tablespoon.
Tablespoons, but it's got that lovely
blue.
aqua blue to it,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Wow.
Now, that's unusual because to all intents and purposes it looks like the kind of reflector that you may have on a light on the back of a car or something like that, but it's glass. Now I'm thinking that that's worth keeping and putting away, because I could come up with a use for that in one of my assembled pieces. Well, it's certainly small, isn't it? So I'll say thank you, Lynn, for finding that, and I'll pop that in the bag. This is a very textured bottle. I can empty the muck out of that. I might pop that in the bag and take it home and give it a clean up and have a good look at it. A few more things in the hole. There's a rather large bottle there. I wonder what that is. Oh, he's a big boot, isn't he? There's no distinguishing marks, I don't think. And what's on the bottom? Pavilion on the bottom. It gives you some indication of the difference in size. When I put the bottles side by side, you can see. And due to the fact this one's got the writing, and this one's a lot smaller, this one's got the best chance of getting in the bag today. Oh, there's another spot here with some collection of finds. Here's another of the Hall's tonic wine. Nice large example there. And there's quite a few bits and pieces, pots and things. Nice bit of glass there. Oh, that's a shame that that's broken off at the top there. That would have been lovely. Hot water bottle, ceramic type. Rather large chunk at the base of a proving bowl. I was just walking along and I thought, wow, look at the size on that marble. And then as I looked closer I realised, no, it's actually attached to a rather chunky glass lid that's had a bit of a hammering. But for the moment I thought I'd found one massive marble. There's just so much on the floor here. I tell you what, I'll just take you for a stroll around, and perhaps Caroline will add a bit of music and you can have a little look at the things that we're walking through. But as we took that stroll through, I came across some smaller items that I am tempted to take with me. This one, it's got some lovely big ridges on it, and it says Greenwood and Company Limited, Keighley. So that's a pretty local bottle, which I think will find space in the in the bag. This one, this is Stevenson Brothers Furniture Cream. That's quite a chunky, nice little bottle. That's some writing on. And this one, well, this just has to come home with me because, folks, we may be in Yorkshire, but this is from New York. There you go. And that's going to look lovely cleaned up, I'm sure. It may be a screw top, but it's travelled the world and it deserves to go on a shelf. It's a survivor. If you want to see what it looks like all cleaned up, don't forget, every Saturday night, 9 o'clock, we have a live show and we'll be cleaning up the finds, sharing them with you, having some fun, little quiz, most importantly, lots of chance to chat with one another. So join us then, won't you?
Through the woods, I can see the gathering of the trio. I wonder what they've discovered. Let's go find out.
Let's have a look, let's have a look. See what Lynn's found. Oh, right.
You could grind it down and use it maybe as a plinth.
Oh, now see, everybody's thinking plinth these days. I can't imagine why.
Yeah, I wonder why.
But it's a nice piece. I'm sure I could do something with that. I'm sure I could find its way into some creation.
And what about that for your artwork?
Oh, now, you can't say no to a spout. Not when you're picking up teapots that don't have spouts. So I've got a couple of lids and a spout and a very fancy handle and a teapot. Oh, I'm doing well today. And possibly a plinth.
There's something red, you Phil, when you're walking along. Keep an eye out for it.
Something red. Oh, good gosh, I can see something red. Yes, yes. I can see some. Can you see something red, folks? You've got to be careful here. This is boggy.
But in amongst the boggies, just there, looks like it could be a bead. It's not a bead. We thought it was a bead, but it's not. It's a little toy character. Oh, I think we're going to have to try and find a puddle to wash him off and then have a look at him. And it's a little toy. What's that? Probably a Formula 1 racer. So a rather modern toy dropped by a child, I would imagine. Well, at least it's small enough to fit in the bag. .4-ounce Marmite. Right alongside a Bovril, 2 ounce. They get everywhere.
That's one of them that looks like a diamond shape, isn't it?
Oh, look what Lynn's just found. Still got his top on, not that the top is in very good nick. But look at the shape on that jar. Isn't that gorgeous? It's raised to a point on the front, and then you've got the tapered edges, giving you all the different facets. That's a very, very posh little jar indeed. Well, I've managed to just tap the lid off so that I can get the water out, because I'd like to take this jar home, but I'm not taking it home half full of punky water. And of course, it means I can use the water inside to clean up our little chappie that we found that the girls were convinced was a bead, but of course when we fished it out, it was not, as we can now quite plainly see. There we are, folks. One rather modern little toy, not a bead, but now one empty jar which can go in the bag and get cleaned up at home. Needless to say, we're having a great time finding some great things, but of course, as well as the rubbish really that was thrown away that tells the story of history, there are other historical sites all around this part of Yorkshire. And in fact, not far from where we're standing, just the other side of the river, there is a place called Cliff Castle. Now that's not a castle, it's a Victorian house. It doesn't look as grand as it once did, because in the renovation works in the 1950s, they had to reduce one of the towers in size, remove another tower and take part of the house down. It was in such disrepair. But in the early days, in the 1880s, when it was built by the Butterfield family, it was the des res.
and they had glitzy parties. They were hobnobbing with folks from the court of Napoleon III. They were big friends with the Roosevelts in the USA, and they used to put on some shindigs. But of course, that wasn't the case by the 1930s, 40s. After the Second World War, things had changed. The property was in terrible state of repair. The heirs to the fortune just wanted it gone, and it was looking like it was going to get demolished. It was looking like it'd fall down if someone didn't do something, and the local authority wanted it so much for the people. And the story, the real story for me of that place, comes in how they came to acquire it. Because it was a man by the name of Bracewell Smith. By the time he made his move and helped the local authority here to get that property, he was known by his title of Sir, because he'd been given a baronet in 1948 and knighted. But Sir Bracewell Smith was a Keighley boy, born in Keighley just 4 years after that mansion house was built in 1884. He was a bright lad, born to a hard-working but poor family. His dad worked in the leather industry in the local company, and he was a leather finisher. And the boy did so well at school that it was felt they didn't want him to just finish at 13 and follow into the industries locally. But they didn't have the means by which he could be further educated. But the solution came when the school decided that he was that clever. At 13 he could work as a teacher for the younger children, and in payment part he could be taught by the teachers to raise his education higher. It was successful. In 1908 he attended Leeds University and he got himself a degree in science. Went to London, became a science teacher. Then of course the world changed. The First World War began. He went into the army, served his nation, and when the war was over, he decided to invest the little savings that he had accumulated in a small hotel there in London. This was going to be the beginnings of something phenomenal for this man's life and career, and would ultimately make such a difference here in the Keighley area. Because that building, all those gardens, that beautiful house, everything you see there became the property of the people due to the generosity of this man. He turned round and paid the asking price of £18,000 on behalf of the local authority, and when they discovered it was going to cost over £43,000 to renovate, he gave a gift of £100,000 for the renovation and opening of a museum and gardens for the people. He was not only an accomplished entrepreneur and hotelier. In 1932 he stood for election in the area of London that he lived, and he won his seat. A year earlier, in 1931, he'd served as their local mayor. By 1947, he was Lord Mayor of London, and in 1948, he was knighted. When he returned here in 1959 to open up these grounds and the castle as a museum for the people, his gift to the people of the place he was born, he was listed by some, and the newspapers recorded, Keighley's own Dick Whittington had returned. What a story of generosity. What a story of success. What a story of diversity. A science degree to become a hotelier. And not just any hotelier. He actually got folks in this area to invest £500,000, which was a lot of money after the war. Park Lane Hotel had stood empty since the war. He renovated it, went to America, learnt what the best of the best were doing there, and created the finest hotel in London. He went on not only to be the managing director of Park Lane, but also a director on numerous other boards, including the Carlton and the Ritz. I tell you, what a man, and what a kind act to make all of this beautiful place accessible to the people in this locality. I think that's great. Hope you like looking around it as much as I did. Walking over treasure. There's a bottle there, amber bottle, sauce bottle, mayonnaise bottle, jars, small jars, large jars, whichever way you turn, there's something to see. Beer bottles, wine bottles, all sorts of things. And all set amongst such a beautiful setting, with the fallen timber and the gorgeous moss, which looks absolutely gorgeous, carpeting the decaying wood and providing a beautiful home and habitat for so many little creatures, and of course framing the odd bottle as well. What's not to like when you're treasure hunting in such a natural and beautiful spot? And what on earth do we have here? Good grief, that's a pretty looking thing. What on earth is it? It's going under the ground, folks. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? Oh, got a little worm there. If I'm taking it, I'll have to put him away and put him back in his home. But I think that needs to pop in the bag, because that's a little gem here on the path. Wonder if there's any more gems like that to be found as we make our way back. Tell by the shoulder on that, it's a Brill cream. There's the top of a flagon with a sauce bottle. Oh, what's this one here? It's got something written on it. Bulmers of Hereford. Gosh, that's a fair bit nearer to where we live than you. What a find, eh? You never know what's going to turn up when you're wandering around in the woods in Yorkshire. So I've got to admit, it's green. I don't know how old it is. I know it's too big, but with Hereford on it, I'm very tempted to take it home. Oh, I think I might. Hi there, Caroline. You sent me into the boggy marshes.
I did.
And
What
said
did you
look
find?
for the red thing. And I got the red thing.
Is it the right red thing?
It's the right red thing, but if you think it's a bead, you just may be a little disappointed.
Oh, look, it's a Lego man or something. The racing
Yeah.
man. Whee!
Sits in a little racing car almost.
Oh, isn't that fun?
Yeah, not quite a bead and not as old as most of the things we're finding.
Cute though.
It is cute.
I'm happy.
Oh, that's good. That's all I need, is a happy sweetheart.
And do you want me to show you my prize find?
Oh, go on then. Oh, you've got some nice things in there, because
I
suppose
have.
we've been separated for a while.
This is my treasure bag. I'm in here somewhere. Look. It's a white glass rod, and I love the idea of glass rods.
Don't give it to me.
I'm not going to. You
Because
lost
I
my
lost
last
the
one.
amber one and found it again, but about 6 months later under the seat of the car.
And that's a fair size. Look at that. White glass rod. I am so excited about that.
Brilliant, brilliant, fantastic find. Of course, I can't help repeating myself on the fact that as we scour around through the broken bits of pottery and pick up little bits and pieces that are so wonderful to find, we're never far away from the beauty of nature. Look at that. Look at that, folks. I can tell by the line on the other side that that water during the storms would have been a good 6 or 8 feet higher than it is, and looking a lot more ferocious. But it's not a cliche. It is a fact. No matter what we find, we'll find nothing more beautiful than the world we live in and the nature that surrounds us. It's so sad that so often we don't appreciate it as much as we should, perhaps, but it's nice to stop for a minute and say, wow, isn't that gorgeous?
Bill, come and find my gorgeous thing.
Oh, Caroline's found something gorgeous.
I think it is. It might not.
Right, let's have a look. Oh, back up the blanket. Oh.
Is this a pipe bowl?
Is this a pipe bowl? Now, is this a pipe? A whole pipe?
It's wiggling.
Oh,
Oh,
it's definitely a bowl.
It's a bowl.
That, I believe, I've been separated from everyone today, so I can't be 100% sure, but I think it's the first pipe bowl today.
It is first pipe bowl of the day.
Well, look at that, folks. And what timely intervention that Caroline should interrupt me saying how beautiful the setting is, as well as the finds, and then she comes up with a beautiful find. Well done, dear.
Thank you.
Well, we don't have to question ourselves on that one. It's going in the bag. Now, we were just investigating down there whether or not it was worth going to look for a pot, and Caroline shouts, "Look what I found." And I tell you, she's got the eye in today for the...
Oh, look, it's an RAOB one.
Oh yeah, it's got the head of the bull on it. It's not just the horns.
No, that's lovely. I haven't seen one with a face on.
Oh, now that is a cracking find. I'm going to award you Find of the Day.
Oh, thank you very much.
Because that's the kind of generous-hearted man I am.
Oh, you are, you are.
Plus, you also always find the best things on the day. Oh, hang on. Lynn's throwing things away again. Hang on. We may have an item here that will make our Adam jealous. What has Lynn found?
I think it's got an anchor on. I only said think.
Yeah, we suspect there may be an anchor on there. It's a button for sure, but we're not sure what the motif is because it's quite rusty. Okay everyone, I am now precariously balancing on a ledge just above a stream where I have changed the battery because it ran out. I have some company in the form of Graham, who is down on the bank in with me. It's a bit like, I don't know if anyone remembers the golden shot, but it's a bit like to the left a little, to the right a little, as we are finding the bits and pieces that the girls want to find. So I've been told to go over here, there's something round. Ah, is this the something round here? Yeah, it's the base of a bowl. The old bowl is smashed off and it's the actual flat base of a bowl. Oh, if I can carry it, it might be nice. There we are then. Now what can you say to a comment like, if you can carry it, it might be nice? I suppose I've got to try and carry it.
Oh, you're wonderful. My hero.
So this is what Caroline thinks might be nice. So who am I to argue? I'm going to take that up for her. We jump across. Ready? After 3. 1, 2, 3. I'm over. Hope you made it too. Have a look amongst the broken china in case there happens to be a hidden pipe bowl or some little gem that nobody has noticed. You never know, see, with the heavy rains what might wash to the surface. Some pretty colours there. A lovely colourful piece just there, look at that. Isn't that vibrant? It is nice. I pop that in my bag. Right, time to climb back up the hill. You ready, folks? Because everyone else seems to be vacating this place and heading off slowly in another direction. So here we go. Up, 2, 3. Steady. Ooh, that's pretty. Isn't that pretty? That's very nice, that is. What a shame there's no more of it. I'll tell you what. Now then, I think that is a handle that's worth keeping. Yep, it's got to go in the bag. I know the bag's full, but it can't be that full. Well, enough distractions, we've still got to get to the top. Here we go. I think we'll head for that tree and then up. Come on folks, best foot forward. Don't forget, like a gazelle. Yep, here we go. Way. That's it. We're on the top. Well done everybody. Whew. Now just when you decide that you've got more than enough in your bag, which as you can see I have, it's overflowing, you find something just sticking out of the ground
This was just here, look, see? Just there. In fact, it was that way around. So I didn't know what I had until I pulled it out and didn't know if it was whole. And then as I pulled it out, Lynn exclaimed, "What a lovely colour." And it has got that lovely pale aqua. So I'm just gonna have to make a bit more room in the bag, I think, because that needs to go on a shelf. Let's have a look what Lynn's found just on a similar spot here, just the other side of the tree where I was there. Lynn was just having a look in the hole that was left there, and we've got this bottle, which I think may have sauce written on it. Could be a Fletcher's because they made them in this style. But again, can you see in the bottom edge that lovely aqua colour? And I know so many people rave about these because they can't find them where they are, so I feel guilty if I just leave them there. So okay, let's see if we got room for a little one. Today we've had some difficulty getting through certain areas because of fallen trees. Now, we've mentioned the storms that have hit this part of the world in recent times, 3 in a week, and one of them came right across this area. And the tree I'm about to show you now, which has fallen, I think is going to really express just how powerful nature and wind can be. Whoops, watch it don't fall. Because just behind me here, look at that. That tree stood proud for possibly a couple of 100 years, and now it blocks the pathway as we venture along the riverside. Stood here on the river here, looking majestic and powerful, and then the winds came, and boy did they have a devastating effect, as it not only snapped the tree right through but tore up the roots. Absolutely amazing. Well, I need to catch up with everyone because they've headed back to the car. I know that Caroline, Lynn and Graham have all had a wonderful time, and I've certainly had a fantastic time. Hope you have too. If you have, don't forget, give us a thumbs up. And if you've got friends who would enjoy coming on this adventure as well, then share it with them on social media. That would be brilliant. But most importantly, until the next time, wherever you are, take care and have fun. Bye.